Dr. Sarah Chen stood motionless in her darkened office at the Planetary Defense Initiative, watching streams of data flow across her quantum displays. The notification she'd been waiting for finally appeared. Subtle gravitational distortions in high orbit, exactly where she predicted. She allowed herself a small smile. The aliens thought they were being clever with their cloaking technology. "They're here again." She spoke into her neural link. "Same position as last week, running the same scan patterns." "Confirmed," replied Admiral Rodriguez from PDI Command. "How long have they been watching this time?" 4 hours, 17 minutes, Sarah answered, her augmented vision overlaying the alien vessel's energy signature against the backdrop of stars. "They still think we can't detect them. Should we maintain the charade?" The question was rhetorical. For 6 months, Earth had known about the archivists, a species of methodical observers who studied pre-contact civilizations. Humanity had detected their first probe 3 years ago, but instead of announcing the discovery, the PDI had turned it into an unprecedented intelligence-gathering opportunity. The alien observers thought they were studying a fractured species barely reaching for the stars. Instead, humanity had been carefully crafting a deception so thorough it bordered on art. Every accidental leak of advanced technology, every coincidental scientific breakthrough, every seemingly chaotic military exercise, all of it carefully choreographed to present exactly the image Earth wanted to project. Sarah's neural link chimed with an incoming priority message. "Dr. Chen, the Council is ready. Please proceed with Phase Omega." She straightened her lab coat and walked to the quantum engineering lab where her team waited. The massive particle accelerator hummed with carefully controlled power that would soon disrupt the archivist's cloaking field in a way that would appear completely accidental. "Begin the sequence," she ordered. "Let's introduce ourselves properly." In high orbit, aboard the archivist vessel Eternal Record, first observer Ixel's sensor stalks twitched with confusion. The primitive humans were testing some kind of particle acceleration device, crude by galactic standards, but the energy signatures were odd. First observer called out second observer Tal, "I'm detecting quantum fluctuations in our cloaking matrix." "Impossible," Ixel responded. "Their technology is centuries away from being able to." The cloaking field collapsed. On Earth, in offices, homes, and military bases across the planet, humans enacted the protocols they'd rehearsed for decades. Social media exploded with exactly the right mix of panic, excitement, and memes. Military forces moved with practiced precision while appearing to scramble in disarray. News networks broadcast carefully crafted stories that had been written months ago. Sarah watched it all unfold from her lab, admiring the performance. The archivists were about to learn their first lesson about humanity. Nothing was ever quite what it seemed. First observer, Tal's voice carried the distinctive harmonic of distress. "The humans, they're responding." Ixel watched in growing disbelief as Earth's supposedly primitive defense systems activated in patterns that suggested years of preparation. Civilian ships altered course in ways that couldn't be coincidental. Military vessels emerged from hidden positions that perfectly countered any possible aggressive action. They knew, Ixel realized. They'd known all along. On every frequency, in every format, the archivists could detect. Earth broadcast a single message. "Welcome, friends. We've been expecting you." In her lab, Sarah initiated the final sequence, a transmission that would demonstrate humanity's true level of technological advancement, while appearing to be a hastily cobbled-together first contact protocol. The message contained layers of information, mathematical proofs, quantum equations, and subtle hints at capabilities far beyond what the archivists had observed. "Send our regards to the High Archive," she whispered as she pressed the transmit button. "And remember, you haven't seen anything yet." Admiral Rodriguez watched the alien vessel's reactions through the PDI's quantum sensor network. "Think they'll figure it out?" he asked Sarah through their neural link. "Eventually," she replied. "But by then, we'll have learned everything we need to know about them." The real question is, what will they do when they realize they've been outmaneuvered by a species they considered primitive? The answer would reshape the galaxy. But for now, humanity would continue its greatest performance, playing the role of an emerging civilization while carefully laying the groundwork for their true emergence onto the galactic stage. In the depths of space, the Archivist vessel's quantum core pulsed with transmitted data, sending everything they'd learned back to the High Archive. But for the first time in their species' long history of observation, the Archivists wondered if perhaps they were the ones being studied all along. Sarah Chen smiled as she watched the aliens attempt to process humanity's response. Soon, they would return with diplomats, scientists, and undoubtedly more observers, and humanity would be ready, just as they had been ready for this moment. After all, the best way to prepare for the unknown was to become the unknown. The game had begun. The Archivist delegation's ship descended through Earth's atmosphere with perfect precision, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight in ways that human cameras would struggle to capture. At least, that's what they believed. In reality, every photon of light bouncing off their vessel was being analyzed by quantum sensors hidden in ordinary weather satellites. Lieutenant Maya Patel stood at parade rest beside the landing pad at the newly constructed International First Contact Center in Geneva, maintaining the carefully crafted image of a junior officer chosen for her linguistic skills. The neural augments beneath her regulation haircut processed terabytes of data about the alien vessel's capabilities, but her face showed only appropriate awe and nervous excitement. The ship landed with characteristic Archivist precision. As the delegation emerged, Maya counted 13 different ways their supposedly ceremonial garments could conceal scanning devices. She knew because she was wearing similar hidden technology in her dress uniform. "Welcome to Earth," she said in carefully accented English, playing the role of a talented but inexperienced translator. "I am Lieutenant Patel, and I will be your liaison during your stay." First Ambassador Nexel, who until recently had been First Observer Ixel, dipped his sensor stalks in what his species considered a respectful greeting. "We are honored to make official contact with humanity," he responded in perfect English, trying to impress them with their quick mastery of Earth languages. Maya allowed her eyes to widen slightly, selling the performance. In truth, PDI linguists had cracked the Archivist language months ago from their long-range communications. The universal translator hidden in her neural implant was unnecessary, but she wouldn't reveal that. As she led the delegation through the facility, Maya noted how the Archivist's sensor stalks twitched at carefully placed pieces of technology. Here, an outdated quantum processor running basic security protocols. There, a primitive artificial gravity generator that just happened to use principles the Archivists thought humans couldn't comprehend. In the main conference room, Dr. Chen was waiting with Admiral Rodriguez and a carefully selected team of Earth's representatives. The real power players watched through Maya's neural feed from secure locations around the planet. "Your achievement in detecting our presence was remarkable," Nexel began, his species' version of a diplomatic smile playing across his facial structure. "Few emerging civilizations manage such a feat." Sarah Chen returned the smile, playing her role perfectly. "It was quite accidental, I assure you. A fortunate malfunction in one of our experimental particle accelerators." The lie rolled off her tongue smoothly. The Archivists would eventually discover that humanity had detected them months earlier, but by then, the carefully crafted narrative would have served its purpose. Over the next several hours, the delegation engaged in what appeared to be standard diplomatic exchanges. The Archivists shared carefully curated information about galactic civilization, while humanity presented a carefully crafted image of their capabilities. Through it all, Maya watched and listened, her augmented mind cataloging every subtle reaction, every carefully omitted piece of information. The Archivists were holding back significant knowledge about galactic politics, technological capabilities, and most importantly, threats. During a brief recess, Maya transmitted her analysis through her neural link. "They're scared of something," she subvocalized. The way they keep steering conversation away from the galactic core sectors suggests active conflict. Agreed. Sarah Chen's response echoed in her mind. Notice how they tense slightly whenever we mention our progress in quantum mechanics. There's something there we're not supposed to know about. The dance continued through the day. The archivists believed they were carefully managing humanity's introduction to galactic society. Humanity let them believe it, all while gathering critical intelligence through means the aliens never suspected. When the delegation finally retired to their quarters for the night, Maya made her way to the secure briefing room deep beneath the facility. The holographic displays showed the real-time analysis of everything they'd learned. They're playing a deeper game than we thought, Admiral Rodriguez noted, studying the data. The archivists aren't just observers. They're recruiters. Sarah nodded, her fingers dancing through the holographic data. The question is, what are they recruiting us for? And against what? Maya's neural implant flagged a pattern in the archivists' subtle stress responses. Whatever it is, it terrifies them. Every time we demonstrated a new technological capability, their biochemical readings spiked, not with fear of us, but with hope. Then we maintain the deception, Rodriguez decided. Let them think they're guiding our development. Meanwhile, we'll discover what has a species of immortal scholars so frightened they're willing to rush an emerging civilization into galactic politics. As the meeting concluded, Maya prepared for another day of careful deception. Tomorrow, the archivists would begin their cultural exchange program, believing they were carefully introducing humanity to galactic society. They didn't realize that every piece of information they shared was another piece of a puzzle humanity was already solving. In her quarters, Maya reviewed the day's data through her neural link. The archivists thought they were dealing with an eager, somewhat naive species taking its first steps into a larger universe. They had no idea they were engaged in a shadow dance with a civilization that had turned deception into an art form. Somewhere out in the galaxy, something had the archivists terrified. Soon, humanity would discover what it was, and when they did, the galaxy would learn why underestimating humans was the last mistake many had made. The attack came during what was supposed to be a routine cultural exchange. Maya was guiding the archivist delegation through a traditional Earth defense installation, carefully staged to show exactly what humanity wanted their guests to see when the quantum alarm screamed to life. Admiral Rodriguez's voice cut through her neural link. Unknown vessels emerging from hyperspace. Multiple signatures. No recognition codes. Maya watched the archivist's sensor stalks go rigid with fear. Before Nexel could speak, the facility's holographic displays activated, showing the threat in real time. Massive ships of an organic design, their hulls seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it, decelerated from faster-than-light travel near Mars' orbit. Harvesters, Nexel whispered, his translator struggling with the concept. They shouldn't be here. This sector was supposed to be safe. The alien ships moved with predatory grace, their biological forms rippling as weapon systems emerged from beneath living armor. Maya maintained her facade of surprise and fear, even as her neural implants coordinated with Earth's defense network. "What are they?" she asked, playing her role while the real response unfolded in secret. "They are the reason we search for new civilizations," Nexel admitted, his diplomatic veneer cracking. "The harvesters emerge from dark space, consume everything in their path, and vanish again. No one knows their origin. No one survives direct contact." Through her neural link, Maya received the real-time analysis. The harvester ships were indeed biological in nature, but their energy signatures suggested something far more complex than simple organic technology. They were cyborg constructs, melding living tissue with machine efficiency in ways that even Earth's most advanced biotechnology hadn't achieved. "We need to evacuate," Nexel insisted. "Our ship can." The facility shook as the first harvester weapons struck Earth's primitive orbital defenses. The archivists watched in horror as their supposedly secret vessel in orbit was instantly targeted and destroyed by the attackers. Maya allowed real concern to show on her face, not for the situation, but for the timing. Earth wasn't quite ready to reveal the full extent of their capabilities, but the harvesters had forced their hand. "Admiral," she sub-vocalized through her neural link. "Protocol Omega." Confirmed. Rodriguez's voice was grim. "Show them what humanity can really do." Maya straightened, her demeanor shifting subtly. The scared junior officer vanished, replaced by something that made the archivist's sensor stalks quiver with uncertainty. "Ambassador Nexel," she said, her voice carrying new authority, "I'm afraid we haven't been entirely honest with you." The facility's walls shimmered as their true nature was revealed. What had appeared to be simple metal and concrete transformed as metamaterials shifted phase, exposing banks of quantum computers and weapons systems far beyond what humanity had claimed to possess. "Impossible," one of the archivist scientists whispered. "Your species couldn't have developed this level of technology without us detecting it." "You detected exactly what we wanted you to detect," Maya replied, as holographic displays showed Earth's real defense grid activating. What the harvesters had struck in orbit were decoys, simple sacrificial systems designed to draw first fire. The real defenses emerged from dimensional pockets that shouldn't have existed, from quantum states that the archivists thought impossible to maintain. Satellites that had appeared to be simple communication relays revealed themselves as weapon platforms incorporating technologies Earth shouldn't have even known about. But the real surprise came from the asteroid belt. The mining operations that the archivists had dismissed as primitive exploitation of resources transformed. Entire asteroids shifted, revealing themselves as massive battle stations that had been hiding in plain sight. "We learned early in our history," Maya explained as humanity's true fleet emerged, "that the best way to survive is to never reveal your full capabilities until you have no choice." The harvester ships reacted to the sudden appearance of real opposition, their organic forms rippling as they adjusted tactics. But they had committed to their attack pattern, expecting to find a helpless, primitive world. Instead, they found themselves caught in a killing field prepared years in advance. "You used us," Nexel realized, watching as human ships demonstrated maneuvers that should have been impossible. "You knew something like this would happen eventually." "We used your observations of us to learn about you," Maya corrected. "And through you, we learned about threats like the harvesters. Everything you thought you were studying about us was carefully crafted to hide our preparations for this moment." The space battle unfolding above Earth had demonstrated just how thorough those preparations had been. Human ships moved with impossible precision, using technologies that combined principles from a dozen different galactic civilizations in ways none of them had conceived. The harvesters found their organic technology countered by weapons specifically designed to target their weaknesses humanity had deduced from fragments of information gleaned from the archivists' casual conversations. "All this time," Nexel murmured, "we thought we were guiding your species' development." "Instead," Maya replied, watching as human forces systematically dismantled the harvester fleet, "you were helping us understand exactly what we needed to be ready for. We thank you for that." The harvesters, facing an enemy far more prepared and advanced than they had expected, attempted to retreat. But humanity had planned for that too. The apparently random placement of Earth's hidden battle stations had created a gravity web that trapped the biological ships in space they thought they controlled. As the battle turned decisively in Earth's favor, Maya turned to the archivist delegation. "Now then, shall we discuss humanity's real role in galactic politics?" Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the Quantum Command Center beneath Geneva, orchestrating humanity's response to the harvester threat. Around her, holographic displays showed the battle from 1,000 different angles, each one revealing another layer of the complex strategy now unfolding. "They're adapting to our energy weapons," Maya reported through the neural network, her consciousness linked directly to the battlefield analysis systems. Shifting to Countermeasure Protocol 7. The harvesters had proven remarkably resilient, their organic technology evolving in real time to resist conventional attacks. But humanity had anticipated this capability. In fact, they had counted on it. Execute Operation Primitive Logic, Sarah commanded, a slight smile playing across her lips. Across the solar system, human forces began implementing tactics that made the Archivist delegation's sensor stalks twist in confusion. Ships that had been using advanced energy weapons suddenly switched to what appeared to be crude kinetic projectiles. Missiles that should have carried antimatter warheads instead dispersed clouds of simple metal particles. "I don't understand," Nexel said, watching the tactical displays. "You're abandoning your advanced weapons for primitive alternatives." "No," Sarah replied. "We're demonstrating why humanity survived countless wars among ourselves. Sometimes, the oldest solutions are the most effective." The Harvester's biological ships, their defenses optimized against energy weapons and quantum attacks, found themselves flying through clouds of microscopic diamonds moving at relativistic speeds. Their adaptive armor, which could shrug off plasma bolts, offered little protection against simple physics. "You see," Maya explained as she coordinated the attack, "most advanced species focus on advancing their technology in a linear fashion. They abandon primitive solutions as soon as they develop more sophisticated ones. Humanity never forgot our roots." The battle shifted as Earth's forces demonstrated this principle again and again. Harvester ships that adapted to one form of attack found themselves facing something completely different in the next moment. There was no pattern to predict, no logical progression to analyze. "Your species," one of the Archivist scientists observed, "combines technologies that should be mutually exclusive: advanced quantum fields alongside chemical rockets, antimatter weapons deployed by mechanical springs. It defies conventional military doctrine." "Conventional doctrine," Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through the command network, "assumes logical progression. Humanity learned long ago that survival sometimes requires embracing contradiction." The Harvester's collective consciousness, used to opponents who followed predictable patterns of technological advancement, found itself unable to adapt to humanity's seemingly chaotic approach. Every time they evolved a defense against one type of attack, humans switched to something completely different. Sarah watched as her forces deployed what appeared to be ancient naval tactics in three-dimensional space, using gravitational eddies the way old sea captains had once used ocean currents. Ships that carried enough computing power to calculate quantum trajectories deliberately limited themselves to ballistic paths, becoming unpredictable through artificial constraint. "Your entire species," Nexel realized, "is an experiment in controlled chaos." "Not controlled," Maya corrected, directing a squadron of ships to use their quantum fields to accelerate simple iron pellets to near-light speed. "Embraced. Every contradiction, every illogical combination, every rejected assumption becomes a potential advantage." The Harvester fleet, facing an enemy that refused to follow any predictable pattern of attack, began to fragment. Their biological ships, designed to evolve against consistent threats, found themselves unable to adapt to humanity's constantly shifting tactics. "We studied your archives," Sarah explained to the Archivist delegation. "Every advanced species follows a similar pattern of development, discarding primitive solutions as soon as they develop more sophisticated ones. But humanity, we keep everything. Every tool, every technique, every discarded idea becomes part of our arsenal." The battle reached its climax as humanity demonstrated this philosophy in its purest form. Ships using the most advanced quantum drives ever developed deployed clouds of simple smoke to blind Harvester sensors. Artificial intelligence systems calculated perfect firing solutions for weapons that deliberately missed, herding the biological ships into killing zones with artificial randomness that was more unpredictable than true chaos. "This is why we hid our true capabilities," Maya said, watching the last Harvester ships attempt to retreat. "Not because we feared showing our advancement, but because we knew that understanding how we think is more dangerous than knowing our technology." The Archivist delegation watched in stunned silence as humanity systematically dismantled a threat that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. Not through overwhelming technological superiority, but through the deliberate combination of every tool, technique, and technology they had ever developed. Now, Sarah said, turning to Nexel as the last harvester ship fell to a weapons system that combined quantum entanglement with simple chemical explosives, shall we discuss why your species really seeks out civilizations like ours? What other threats exist in the galaxy that require such unique solutions? In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's quantum sensors detected something unprecedented. Fear radiating from the Archivist delegation. Not fear of humanity's weapons or technology, but fear of what their victory represented. Maya noticed how their sensor stalks trembled whenever they looked at the battle analysis displays, showing just how quickly human forces had adapted during the conflict. "You don't just learn," Nexel finally said, breaking hours of tense silence. "You evolve, not over generations, but in moments." Sarah Chen nodded, her neural implants processing the subtle changes in the Archivist's biochemical signatures. "That's why you really search for civilizations like ours, isn't it? Not to guide our development, but to species that can adapt as rapidly as we do." The holographic displays shifted, showing the analysis of the harvester wreckage. In the few hours since the battle, human scientists had already begun incorporating aspects of the organic technology into their own systems. What had taken other species centuries to understand, humanity was already improving upon. "The galaxy is dying," Nexel admitted, his diplomatic facade finally cracking completely. "The harvesters are just one symptom. There are threats out there that defy conventional evolution, that adapt faster than any natural process should allow. Our greatest minds, our most advanced AI systems, they can't keep up. But we can," Maya said, understanding dawning. "Because we never stopped evolving. Every conflict, every challenge, every near-extinction level event in our history forced us to adapt or die." Admiral Rodriguez's hologram appeared in the command center. "You weren't just observing us," he stated. "You were testing us." The seemingly random technological leaks, the diplomatic mistakes that revealed threats like the harvesters, all of it carefully orchestrated to see how quickly we could adapt. "And you exceeded every expectation," Nexel confirmed. "Where other species took generations to incorporate new concepts, you did it in years. What took them centuries to master, you achieved in decades. The pace of your adaptation is unprecedented." Sarah smiled, but there was steel in her expression. "Yet you still haven't told us what you're truly preparing for. What threat could be so great that immortal scholars would resort to engineering the accelerated evolution of entire species?" The archivists shared a complex series of sensor stalk movements that their translators couldn't interpret. Finally, Nexel spoke. "We call them the convergence. They exist in the spaces between galaxies, entities that evolve through the absorption and integration of entire civilizations. They are coming, and conventional evolution cannot produce solutions fast enough to counter them." "Show us," Maya demanded. The Archivist delegation linked their quantum cores to the facility systems, sharing data that made even Earth's most advanced AI systems struggle to process. The threat they revealed was beyond anything humanity had imagined. Beings that operated on a scale where solar systems were mere atoms in their vast consciousness. But instead of fear, the humans in the command center showed something that made the Archivists' sensor stalks vibrate with hope. Excitement. "You don't understand what you've created," Nexel said, watching the humans already beginning to analyze and theorize. "In your drive to survive, in your constant adaptation and evolution, you've become something new. Your species doesn't just learn or adapt, you transform. Every challenge makes you stronger. Every threat accelerates your evolution." "We know exactly what we are," Sarah replied, her neural implants already coordinating with systems across Earth to begin preparing for this new threat. "We are humanity. We are what evolution created when it needed something that could outthink entropy itself." The quantum displays showed human ships already incorporating principles learned from both the harvesters and the archivists, creating hybrid technologies that shouldn't have been possible. Each innovation sparked three more, Each solution bred new possibilities. The convergence believes it represents the pinnacle of evolution, Maya said, watching humanity's response unfold across 1,000 different systems and disciplines. But they've never encountered a species that treats evolution itself as a technology to be mastered. You understand then, Nexel said, why we sought you out, why we tested you. The galaxy needs species that can evolve as fast as the threats it faces. No, Admiral Rodriguez corrected. You needed something more. You needed a species that had turned survival itself into an art form. One that doesn't just adapt to threats, but adapts the very process of adaptation. Sarah looked at the data about the convergence again, her augmented mind already seeing patterns and possibilities that the archivists had missed in centuries of study. Tell your high archive that humanity accepts the challenge. But understand this, we won't just fight the convergence. We'll show them what true evolution looks like. As the archivists watched, humanity began its preparations for a conflict unlike any the galaxy had seen. They had sought a species that could adapt quickly enough to face an impossible threat. Instead, they had found one that had mastered evolution itself. The galaxy was about to learn why humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons, but their infinite capacity to become whatever survival required. The convergence thought they represented the peak of evolution. Humanity was about to show them why assuming you've reached the peak is the surest way to be surpassed.